Reverend Michelle.
Yes.
Welcome to the show, Reverend Michelle.
Thank you so much. I appreciate being here.
What do you know about ISON, and if this is related, how so?
Okay, let me tell you what I know about ISON. First of all, it's going to be going past Mars with its debris field. And before it even came in to where Mars is, it passed through our solar system's asteroid belt. When it did that, it careened into asteroids that went helter-skelter all over the universe. Some of them went forward in its path toward the world, toward the Earth. Some of them have already hit the Earth. They've already gone down through our atmosphere and burned up and whatnot. Some of them have hit terra firma. We just had a really spectacular view of one that came through our atmosphere and lit up nearly a third of the atmosphere. It was really, really spectacular from space. So we've got that debris coming at us already from the asteroid belt. And this thing that just went through our atmosphere, it was an asteroid. It was not a meteor. People think that a meteorite is just, a smaller asteroid, but no, they're different animals. An asteroid has a different makeup, and it was a small asteroid. Well, it passes with its debris field in Mars in early November, right around November 10th. And it leaves debris all the way through our solar system, which, on its entire path, which early next year the Earth is going to be traveling through. But before that happens, ISON will be traveling past our sun. It's going to kind of ricochet around the sun. It passes several of our planets, and it will probably be throwing asteroids and other debris down on these planets as it goes by. It comes to Earth, its debris field starts passing by Earth, and Earth starts going into actually revolving inside ISON's debris field on December 1st of this year. It begins to pass through the debris field. Now, during this time, the entire Earth is going to be affected. Now, we remember that the tail has picked up all these significant asteroids and debris and dust traveling through that asteroid belt. On December 8th, ISON itself passes by. Now, we should be able to really see a spectacular show from the comet. The comet is really huge, and it's even its tail. On the 16th of December, ISON will be fully past the Earth, but for 15 days, our Earth is going to be revolving in that debris trail for this huge comet.
Wow.
This debris field has asteroids and large debris, meteors, meteorites, dust, and all kinds of other debris that are going to be pelting the Earth.
Due to resource constraints caused by sequestration, Air Force Space Command officials have directed the 21st Space Wing to prepare to discontinue operations at the Air Force Space Surveillance System by October 1st. Final decisions on all fiscal 2014 budget issues will be made over the next few weeks. By discontinuing operations, the space surveillance system would not be maintained in operational status.
It was the East Coast that got a spectacular sky show as a spacecraft launched en route to the moon and was visible to millions. Sure could see it from our house. Last night, it was Georgia and Alabama's turn. A fireball lit up the skies. They say it was a small but potent meteor. While it was probably only about the size of a baseball, It came in at a low altitude at 73,000 miles an hour and thus lit up a huge area.
January 3rd. They're often hard to see because the northern sky is usually cloudy.
And here it goes.
There it is.
It looks like a rocket exploding, or like a rocket taking off or something. That is so amazing.
And then fizzles away. That's what I can't understand. Why does it just fizzle away the way we're going to see it fizzle?
I don't know.
I mean, you know it all, Tomer.
As he said, he's a meteorologist, not
He's
a
a
meteorologist.
Yeah, I just don't know. I mean, they die. They lose that light, or they're burning up.
Wow.
And the quadrantids, as they are formally called. So there you go. Amazing video. I'm just so happy that we were able to capture that. I wonder if we were the only ones that got that.
Tell you right now, Homeland Security would kick their butts in a week. What's happening here is we're building a domestic military because it's unlawful or unconstitutional to use American troops on American soil. So what we're doing is we're building a military. My best friend, who's a SWAT officer in Nashua, who came to Iraq with me to train the Iraqi police, sent me an email with a picture of him in the media on the streets of Watertown, Mass, wearing the exact same combat gear that we had in Iraq, only with a different color. What's happening is Homeland Security is pre-staging gear, equipment, consistent. What they're trying to do is use standardized vehicles, standardized equipment. I saw a picture in the Boston Globe during the marathon bombing where there was a state police officer, actually there were two officers, they both had identical helmets, flak jackets, weapons, everything I wore in Iraq, only it was all blue. The officer on one side had a big patch on his back that said Massachusetts State Police. Another officer next to him, his patch said Boston Police. And so what we're doing here, and let's not kid about it, we're building a domestic army and we're shrinking the military because the government is afraid of its own citizens. The last time more than 10 terrorists were in the same place at one time was September 11th, and all these vehicles in the world wouldn't have prevented it, nor would it have helped anybody. So I don't know where we're going to use this many vehicles and this many troops. Concord is just one little cog in the wheel. We're building an army over here, and I can't believe that people aren't seeing it. Is everybody blind? That's all.
Some call it the ultimate firearm that changed the world. The famed Kalashnikov assault rifle. In the Central Russian Republic of Udmurtia, as in the rest of the country, members of the Special Operations Units of the Ministry of Internal Affairs rely almost exclusively on Kalashnikovs.
June 25, 2013, in Washington, D.C., the Russian Emergency Situations Ministry, Russia's equivalent to FEMA, signed an agreement with FEMA to, quote, exchange experts during joint rescue operations in major disasters. This, according to the Russian Ministry for Civil Defense website. The Civil Defense website, however, goes on to discuss something that appears to be much more sinister. Russian so-called experts will be engaged in, quote, monitoring and forecasting emergency situations, training of rescuers, development of mine rescuing, and provision of security at mass events. This last line, that of providing security at mass events, has many people worried. If Russian experts were brought in during a disaster, we would have Russian so-called security forces. Let's call them what they really are, Russian soldiers, on American soil confiscating guns from American citizens. Let us also remember that after the Boston Marathon terrorist attack, de facto martial law was declared in the Watertown and surrounding areas, looking for the unarmed teenager Jakar Sameo. Hundreds of militarized police conducted illegal house-to-house searches. Citizens were taken into custody without being charged for the crime. If a de facto or declared martial law took place, would these Russian soldiers be alongside our militarized police? Would there come a time when the Russian soldiers were actually the ones in charge during the martial law? What is our own government, the rogue administration of Barack Hussein Obama, doing?
The New York Times, their headline read, "As worries over the power grid rise, a drill will simulate a knockout blow." The drill is called Grid X2. It's an EMP simulation. The exercise is an entire North American-wide exercise. Interestingly enough, the final planning phase is October 1.
Due to resource constraints caused by sequestration, Air Force Space Command officials have directed the 21st Space Wing to prepare to discontinue operations at the Air Force Space Surveillance System by October 1st. By discontinuing operations, the space surveillance system would not be maintained in operational status. By deactivating the space surveillance system by October 1st, AFSPC would see a cost savings of approximately $14 million per year.
I have received a possible emergency FEMA Region 3 alert. FEMA Region 3 consists of Washington, D.C., Delaware, Maryland, Pennsylvania, Virginia, and West Virginia. This alert was sent to us by Senator Sheldon R. Songstad, retired, of South Dakota State. FEMA purchase orders for over $14.2 million for MREs and heater meals to be delivered to Region 3 by October 1st. FEMA purchase orders for 2 million pouches of emergency water to be delivered to FEMA Region 3 by October 1st. FEMA purchase orders for $13.6 million for MREs and heater meals to be delivered to Austin by October 1st. 9-week training course for UN peacekeepers in CONUS to learn urban warfare. They're learning urban warfare, and they need to learn English and U.S. weapons systems. We're having foreign soldiers learn our U.S. weapons systems. This has been going on since the 4th week of July for 386,000 troops to be completed by October 1st. $11 million in antibiotics to be delivered to FEMA Region 3 by October 1st, ordered by the CDC. The World Health Organization held their second emergency meeting in its history. The second meeting in its entire history to discuss MERS coronavirus. Determined a vaccine must be in place by October 1st. 2,800 MRAPs must be delivered to DHS by October 1st. Then we were informed of a global EMP threat, saying the Earth barely missed taking a massive solar punch in the teeth 2 weeks ago, an electromagnetic pulse so big that it could have knocked out power, cars, and iPhones throughout the United States. No leave will be allowed for U.S. military
from September 28th through November 5th. NORCOM yearly training for civil unrest is to be suspended until September 27th to be performed in northeast coastal areas. Date for release of QE3 report is to be moved to October 16th. All DHS agents must qualify with sidearm, shotgun, and AR-15 by September 28th. No mention of yearly less lethal qualification. The sporadic testing of GPS and communication satellites is coordinated for the very first time ever, with a testing date of September 29th. POTUS mandates to FEMA and DHS concerning support for metropolitan communities dealing with the extreme climate change must be complete by October 1st. These mandates were issued during the last 3 weeks. Over 300 school systems in the U.S. have determined their 3-day kits for each school and 3-day kits for each student to take with them. All deliveries are scheduled for the month of September. All National Guard units will complete riot control and disaster assistance training during this year's annual 2-week training. All units must have their training complete by September 30th. Daily testing of emergency broadcast system to begin on September 25th and run through October 2nd. Eastern-based Coast Guard units to perform massive group training, usually performed in the Gulf, in the Virginia and Delaware areas. This is a 10-day training mission to begin September 26th.
Remind you as the date gets closer so you can stock up on snacks and beverages, but a comet is coming, a big and brilliant comet arriving in November 2013. It could potentially be 15 times brighter than the moon and visible in broad daylight over the U.S. We will be your Comet Network, and we'll keep you updated.
The panic and havoc seen in the Russian Urals last winter when a meteor the size of a house exploded in the skies, well, we could be set for a repeat. Scientists say the huge rock might not have been flying solo as first thought, but rather as part of a group of asteroids which still pose a threat to Earth.